out there, I think the more we're going to end up selling.
If we can sell it and we can make the product better, we're all in.
Cool. Today on Retrograde, we are up at the Smokercraft boat facility in New Paris, Indiana, checking out what is definitely the most unique and exciting new boat model released on the market this year. And that is the new 2025 Starcraft Ski Champ model. Now on this channel, we're partial to anything old, but we're also willing to tip our cap to a new build that has the same vintage styling cues and qualities. So, when the new Ski Champ model was announced last year by Starcraft Smokercraft, we made a video discussing its relevance in today's marine market and its potential impact to the antique boating scene. In that video, we made a desperate and futile attempt to persuade Starcraft into gifting us a Ski Champ to test. I mean, yeah, that was a bad joke, guys. But to our total shock and disbelief, the guys at Starcraft actually reached out to the channel and invited us to their facility to meet the team and check out the new boat. We got an up-close look at the Ski Champ's meticulous manufacturing process and even got to take a couple of them out on the water. This was hands down the coolest thing we've done to date on this channel, and we're excited to share it. Here in part 1, we're going to talk to some of the main players involved in the conception of the Ski Champ model, and how the wild idea of remaking a 68-year-old hull design and selling it in 2025 came to fruition. We started our visit at Smokercraft's History Wall, where they've amassed a fleet of their historic boats and transformed the area into a floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall timeline of the entire history of the Smokercraft company and its affiliate brands, Starcraft just being one of a handful of them. Just this one room, stacked with drool-worthy vintage watercraft and enough historic detail to fill a museum, left us both in awe. We're talking a coffee table made from a vintage rowboat recovered from the bottom of a lake, a bar made from another old Ski Champ hull, and a duck skiff from the early 1900s that appeared to be made out of old barn material. So between being in boat enthusiast paradise, and of course fidgeting with our camera gear, we spaced on capturing the majority of the outstanding wall tour by Steve Huber, Smokercraft's marketing coordinator, about the company's rich family heritage and background. But we managed to capture this.
This is also really interesting. So actually Starcraft was the very first, has the patent on the very first pop-up.
Okay.
So Lloyd Bontrager was the inventor of the pop-up. He worked for Starcraft. And so he was the one who designed that, and he has the original patent here with Starcraft. And if you are familiar with the RV companies, so Lloyd ended up going over and he started Jayco.
Oh, okay.
Right. So Starcraft has the original patent on that. But anyways, there's a lot of history behind the wall, and as we move on, when we start getting into modern day stuff, it's like, this is where I really kind of took it off, right? So obviously the merging of, the two companies together in 1975 when Harold purchased the Smoker Lumber Company. But also on top of that, we're gathering all of the brands together. So, when we started to bring Sylvan pontoons into it, they were originally the first as like houseboats, and then we transformed them into pontoons. This was a big deal, and when we started partnering with the engines, being able to, factory install engines here and the pre-rigging, that was a huge part of the business, because before that you were just shipping boats, and now when you started putting all those pieces together, that was a very lucrative process for the dealerships, for us, for the whole marine industry, is when we started being able to factory install pre-rigging and engines. That was a big game changer for everybody. One of the things that's really interesting, and kind of we talk about, like we talk about the company as a whole. It's we pride ourselves on not only the heritage of it, but also like our dealer relationships. And we started doing cruises and other dealer.
Please send your complaints and grievances to GoPro for the tech snafu, or start your own YouTube channel, make a video about a boat, and get yourself invited for an in-person tour. Shouldn't be too hard if you're stacking yourself against our social media standing. Steve, for his part though, gave a master class on the company's timeline starting from 1903 to present, including fascinating stories like the 1962 Starcraft plant fire and Starcraft's invention of the pop-up camper. You'll just have to trust us on the rest of Steve's statement. The company prides itself on its heritage, strong dealer relationships, and family-oriented culture. He concluded by noting that Smokercraft has grown to become the third largest boat manufacturer in the world, with every hull built in New Paris, Indiana. Next up in the origin story of the new Ski Champ model, we sit down with Josh Drudge, the Vice President of Operations at Smokercraft Incorporated. Now, Josh was the one who initially reached out to the channel after our first video about this boat. To be honest, I had to do a little digging when we received that first email to make sure that somebody wasn't playing a prank on us for a good laugh. Josh is the main person responsible for pushing this bold project through, so we were really excited at the chance to sit down with him and see what he had to say.
All right. Well, so we're here with Josh Drudge, VP Operations for Smokercraft Starcraft. I guess you want to just tell us a little bit about your role here with the company.
Well, I run all operations.
Okay.
I run some engineering, transportation, maintenance, so a little bit of all the day-to-day stuff.
Okay. I guess what everybody wants to know out there is, how was the 2025 Ski Champ project conceived? What was the impetus for that?
Well, we had a dealer bring us a 1917 boat to restore, and that started a larger restoration project of approximately 25 boats. And the 57 Ski Champ was one of them. It was in pretty rough shape. And out of everything we saw, that probably excited us the most.
Yeah.
Once we saw the fins and the craftsmanship, we started talking about all the people we still have that might have been around when that boat was built. And there was really no reason that we couldn't build it again.
Yeah.
We have similar equipment, similar, talents.
Yeah.
We have painters and metal guys and body guys, and there's no reason we couldn't build it.
Is that the one behind us that you're referring to?
This is the boat. This is the very first boat that our team restored.
Okay. There's a lot of people making, throwback, stuff with retro styling out there. What made you guys want to just recreate the Ski Champ versus doing something with Ski Champ cues, like styling cues? I mean, it just seems like a bold decision for us to we're gonna rebuild this vintage boat.
Well, I think with this being a family-owned company and being the original family and there being 5 generations of the family still here, we also wanted to kind of nod our head at the significance of the family heritage.
Yeah.
And we also thought if we built that boat, we could make that boat economical, make it affordable to where any one of our employees could afford that boat if they wanted it. We don't need to build $30,000, $40,000 boats all the time.
Yeah, man, it's really refreshing to hear, somebody say that. The idea that somebody that's working on your line can buy this boat that they helped build.
And we've actually had that happen. We've had a couple people actually put orders in for these boats.
That's awesome.
I think what he's meaning by, like the example earlier, is that with the styling, it'd been much easier to just paint something a teal or white color, right, or a vintage looking sticker on it. But I mean, you went all out. You've done the fins, you've done the mahogany trim. I mean, everything, the trailer, the motor. I mean, it's just like nothing left untouched. I mean, it's that boat essentially remade with a modern power plant, modern steering, and
well, not just that, just stuff that you didn't even have to do. The breakaway tongue on the trailer comes to mind. I mean, nobody would expect that from a boat at this price point. It's just great to see, stuff like that well thought out.
Well, I think we wanted to do a quality boat that hit today's standards, but looked cool and was affordable. I mean, we don't want to do it halfway. Why not do it right and make it something that a family can pass down later on?
yeah.
So who do you think is the target audience? I mean, did you guys even think about that as far as demographic goes?
I really wasn't worried about it. I was thinking that, a 30-year-old with young family all the way up to, an 80-year-old that's granddad had one. I mean, there's no reason it can't be open to everybody.
Yeah.
I think people would guess that it would appeal more to the baby boomer generation, but I think it's, at least from what I've seen, had more universal appeal after it was released. So that's, to me, pretty refreshing.
Well, I think some of that too is that younger crowd doesn't have as much money to spend. So when they can get into boating with something that's cool,
yeah,
they can afford to do it, and it seats 4. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to be in again a $60,000 pontoon if they can afford 16.9 why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously, as vintage boat enthusiasts, we were really stoked to see you guys, putting out, the Ski Champ. I guess as we talked about in the video that you guys saw that brought us up here, the one thing I guess we were a little disappointed on hearing was that, we're going to have to press you here a little bit, Josh. The one thing we were a little disappointed about was, the idea that this is just going to be a limited run of about 200 units. So,
Well, that rumor did leak out that
Okay.
we were going to do 200, and we actually went as far as to start making plaques.
They should really install a factory number plaque, the X out of 200 in gold, front and center on the dash. Those guys will love it.
I know they brought up plaques on the.
Yeah.
We actually had a local jeweler putting that together.
Wow.
awesome.
And we actually brought this out at our first show in late December of 24. Is
Yeah.
that right? 24. And there was so much excitement that we didn't think 200 was enough.
Okay.
I mean, we had just dealers, once they saw it, we actually introduced this at Dealer Week to where, incoming dealers can look
Yeah.
at things. And there was so much excitement, we didn't see the limited production as being a reality.
Great. That's,
So it's going to keep going.
It will keep going.
All right.
yeah.
Awesome.
That's good to hear. Anything else? You guys got any other vintage projects in the works that we can look forward to seeing?
Not that we're going to talk about.
All right, good to
Your
know.
eyes open.
I guess the last thing we want to follow up with, something that we're really into with the older boats is, some of the accessories, some of the farkles that, were available. When you look through the old catalogs of the 50s, you could get canvas tops, you could get, the old K-pot cushions. Stuff like that. Are you guys, exploring any kind of like accessory options specifically for the Ski Champ?
I mean, we've definitely looked at some things, but to be honest, until we kind of saw what the feedback was and once
Yeah.
we get boats rolling, going into the next 2026 model year, you'll see a lot of additional items available. And I guess stay tuned on what else will roll out.
If I was going to spend 17 or more on a boat, it wouldn't be out of the question to throw a couple grand more down for like a full custom canvas top for it. Or the other things I've started to notice are like the K-pot cushions, that all you've got is the cheap, the stuff you get at like Academy Sports or something, the generic stuff. And a lot of these vintage K-pot cushions on eBay are even going for 50 to 100 bucks in some cases, in good shape, because people want them for their old boat or they use them as cottage decor. So how cool would it be to see Starcraft branded Type 4 flotations, or a matched canvas or vinyl top that went all the way from front to back and folded behind the windshield, stowed away, right?
You guys should share your ideas with us. With our capabilities, there's no reason we can't do whatever the public wants, honestly.
Yeah.
If we can sell it and we can make the product better, we're
Okay.
all in.
Cool.
I think that's about all we had lined up. Anything you want to finish
No,
up?
thank
Gus.
you guys so much for the original video and for coming and spending the day with us. We appreciate you being here.
We've had a blast. We really appreciate the hospitality, you guys showing us around and letting us take one of those boats out. It's been great.
Right. Well,
So-
thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
The next guy we got to chat with was Scooter Jackson. Now, his official title, as he described it to us anyways, is manufacturing support, or whatever they need done. Scooter is a super friendly, humble guy of few words, and his interview is the shortest of all of them in this video. Scooter has been the go-to guy in terms of figuring out the intricacies of reverse engineering an almost 70-year-old boat design and building it in the modern era. And it won't take you long to figure out why he's a perfect fit for the project. He's also the guy responsible for that stunning restoration of Starcraft's original 57 unit displayed upstairs. Honestly, on the 4-hour car ride home, as we were digesting everything we saw during the plant tour, we realized that we could have easily filled an hour of interview time with Scooter on questions about this boat and his truly indispensable role in its production.
All right. Well, we're here with Scooter Jackson with Smokercraft Starcraft. I guess I'm not sure what your official position is here, Scooter, but you want to talk about, what you do here at Starcraft, what your background is?
Whatever they want done, basically, is my title is manufacturing support.
Okay.
And then Josh puts me on a lot of special projects like restorations, special boats we'll get in, special builds, problems, wrecked equipment, you name it.
Yeah. So, before, how long have you been working for
4 years here.
4 years? Okay. So what was your background before? Were you a vintage boat, vintage car guy?
Everything, vintage, anything that dealt with fabrication, paint, mechanical, pinstriping, airbrushing,
Cool.
design, body shop.
So I guess you want to tell us about just your involvement with the Ski Champ project. So you did the restoration on this one behind us.
And that's where it started out.
Yeah.
And with that, by dismantling that boat and figuring out what parts it needed and everything, that gave me the insight on how this boat was built. I got to dissect it. So then that kind of put me in position to be able to build the new one when we decided to use an existing hull that we had.
Yeah.
And when it came down to measurements and placement of the wood, how thick the wood, how wide the wood, how we stain it, how the seats went in, how they were cut, how they were shaped, where fasteners went in. That's been my role on it. And then the kind of
So everything.
just kind of and to help simplify things a little bit to get in production.
Yeah.
And then from there, then we actually sent it to the guys who run the production and let them fine tune my thoughts.
Okay.
It's not really a simple boat, especially at the fins either. I guess like I didn't comment or think about that earlier, but when we were even doing the transom, how much, aggravation we had and like the structure under the fins and how it's all held together and the screws that go in from the side. We had a lot of
There's a lot of
aggravation.
cussing.
Yeah. It's not simple. Look, it's not simple when you start digging into it. It's a complicated little.
And then if you try to take it and take what the technology was in 1957 and then apply it to today's labor, a lot of people don't know how to do a lot of the stuff that guys were doing by hand back then. Yeah. That's kind of where I came in too. To try to figure out either how we train, or what piece of equipment do we need to make, or just how do we run that screw into there?
Yeah.
What type of screw to use? What's going to look good? So on and so forth, and how to simplify it and how to rethink it and not let it beat us down. Because it's been a tough boat to build.
Man, I was gonna say, when we were walking through the plant today, it was just obvious that it was just an enormous, like a huge endeavor, what you guys are doing to make the new Ski Champ. I guess out of all those things that sound like a pain in the neck, were there any kind of pain points or challenges that kind of stick out in your mind?
No, the fins. Just making the fins, because we had figured out we had nobody to talk to as far as how was that fin actually made. We could only speculate based on what this one looked like when we had it apart. And so then we just had to take with what our guys knew and everything and what we had available and make it happen. And it was not a fun process.
Well, it's not like they really did that a ton back in the 50s anyway, right? It was a real brief period of time in the late 50s, early 60s. And how many, just thinking this now, how many finned aluminum boats really were there? A lot of them were fiberglass, I think. Mm-hmm. There's probably only a handful of finned aluminum.
And fiberglass really would have been easier to,
exactly,
because you could build the buck out of whatever you want, and then you create your mold. Where aluminum, you have to have a stamp, a press, something to make that happen. And I've often wondered too if their endeavor on this boat wasn't exactly what we're doing now. It was kind of like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess on the Ski Champ originally, the fins were an option, right? I mean, that was
as far as I know, yeah, because I've seen them with and without. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, that's kind of all we had prepared to get from you, Scary. I mean, we talked to you a whole lot today, walking through the plant. You've been just a wealth of knowledge for us, and really appreciate you, just taking the time to show
Well, it's been
us
our
what-
pleasure to have you guys.
Yeah.
It's cool. And
It was fun. It was fun talking back and forth on Facebook at the beginning, because I loved watching the first video.
Well, hopefully this video does this thing justice, because it's something to try to soak in. How many times this thing's touched and all the complications. I mean, it's something to see. So.
To say the least, I've been impressed with our guys, in production. That the fact that this run that they're getting it down to where they're actually, putting out the numbers this week that they're putting out. I thought, man, there's no way these guys they're ever going to do it, And well, they've done it. So and the boat's looking great. So
I agree. It's looking great. You guys have done a heck of a job. So, anything else you want to add, Brock?
I am good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Now, we did not expect to be interviewing these next guys at all, or even meeting them during our visit to the facility for that matter. So when Josh casually told us in the morning that we'd be sitting down with Peter Barrett, the executive vice president of Smokercraft and great-grandson of Arthur Schrock, aka the founder of Starcraft, along with his son Nate Barrett, we were a bit taken by surprise. Now, we were in no way prepared to interview these guys, but lucky for us, they were both easygoing, easy to talk to, and had some interesting insights into the family history and unique company culture that helped inspire the recreation of this beautiful boat. At some point after our conversation began, it occurred to us that the interview had actually started and we had not yet turned on the camera. Sorry guys, we're not very good at this.
Time they talk about it. And so finally, they sent me pictures of it. I'm like, I've got to see this thing. And unfortunately, the patriarch of the business passed away. And then he gave me a call and he said, hey, my dad passed away and he wanted StarCraft to have this 1917. I was like, awesome. So I asked him to bring it, I sent somebody up and they brought it down and I unwrapped it and I'm like, wow, this thing is awesome. And I knew we had all these boats stored away because we did a boat show in like 2006 where we displayed all the Starcrafts and that we had in stock because whenever someone passes away or somebody who really cares about a boat in a family, they tend to call us and they say, hey, do you have any use for this boat? But there's a lot of people who've done that. So we had to pick and choose a few of them. But when we got this back, we were like, we need to pull all these in, all the stuff we have in the racks and take a look at them. When they came out, the 1957 was one that everybody really thought was pretty cool, especially with the fins and the guys jumped on it. Josh and the gang really gravitated towards that. And it was one that we thought would have most promise.
So speaking of this 1970s, is this how it came, or is this did Scooter touch this?
So the 1917, if you bought that boat, it looks similar to that with the wood accents. It was steel, so it was heavy.
Yeah.
And that's why aluminum became so popular because if you can imagine, carrying these steel boats to the lake, and trailer technology wasn't really there back then, and so
when it was donated to you guys, was it in this condition?
Yeah, it was in the condition, and our dealer had spent an incredible amount of time refurbishing it and keeping it new. It's awesome looking.
Man, I think it's really remarkable. I mean, what you're saying about how people just give you guys a call and want to give you stuff. I mean, I think that really speaks a lot to just the presence you guys have here and the history with the company. We were walking around the plant earlier and, Scooter was pointing out, this house was, built by, a smoker. Like essentially like you guys were just building the neighborhood, like building the town around you. I mean, can you speak to some of that history?
Sure. Now that's the Smoker family. We're the Schrock family.
Okay.
And we started in agriculture. So we started in building farm things like corn cribs and tanks, and we specialized in tanks. And in the area, there was a lot of peppermint, and so we used to make peppermint stills as well. Okay. And the story is, as we started building more and more tanks, the Boy Scouts approached us, and they're looking for boats for summer camps. Yeah. And so it was an easy transition. If you look at our older boats, they really look like tanks. And so that's
that
really
thing up there.
Yeah, you look at it and
the ducker or whatever. Yeah.
And what's cool about that, you can sort of see how that boat could have been some farm equipment too.
It's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. And then it doubles.
Yeah, like a feeder trough or something.
Yeah, the feeder trough. That's exactly what I was thinking of when I looked at that.
Yeah, you can see it's like, the corrugated.
Inside and out.
Might have been like, off of the barn or an outbuilding or something, but yeah.
Yeah, and so as things evolved, we went from steel, which what you see here, to aluminum, and then fiberglass in 1967, we bought a fiberglass company from actually the guys who now own Formula down in Decatur, Illinois.
Okay.
And so it was called Duo at the time, and then it became Starcraft fiberglass. So, and then the pontoon market then evolved, but our love has always been, aluminum fishing boats, and yeah.
Did World War II and like airplane surplus factor that into that at all? Or I know some of the aluminum boat companies that definitely played a role after World War II with all the leftover.
Yeah, it actually did. They talk about the first original pontoons were made out of some tanks left over from World War II, if you can imagine that. Yeah. So they simply mounted a deck on these parts from the bombers, and there you go. A cheap boat. Yeah.
Cool. Anything you can think of, Brock? Yeah, I guess if we'd have known we were talking to you guys, we would have prepared some more questions.
You guys have had a busy day around the plant, and
It's been
impressive. A fun day. Yeah, luckily you had a fun day out on the water too.
Oh, man.
Taking the boats
We had
out.
a blast out there. We really appreciate the opportunity. So much fun out in the water.
well, you got some cool shots.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's what it looks like. Yeah, it was really cool to see the boat with the pink livery. I mean, that's cool.
I think this project's really cool, especially one, I love the fact that Josh ran with it. I mean, and then I love the enthusiasm, and the craftsmanship that came up through the employees. And the original, 1957 was really cool, but what our employees were able to do with it is just it's like a blend between like old time craftsmanship and modern craftsmanship. It's really cool. And I have a ton of friends who are always asking for like eclectic boats. It's like, should I buy a wooden boat? Should I buy something that looks really cool for cruising? and this is a perfect boat for them because it's minimal maintenance, and you actually have an engine that's 4-stroke and starts. So it takes a lot of the challenges of having a classic boat.
It's a good foray into it because like we were laughing out there. So some of our YouTube content, I'm especially like a vintage outboard enthusiast. So we'd always get upset, if we saw someone with a classic boat and they put some like just generic 4-stroke thing on it, and the old motors kind of have a perception to them, right? So I always joke, it's like if you go out with an old motor, everybody on there is going to think it's going to catch fire or quit or whatever. But we even joked like out there, it's like, oh, we don't got to bring a set of tools with us. We can just turn the key and go. So, and to have some of the modern amenities like tilt trim, modern steering system without the pulley cable system, I mean, it's a lot easier foray for somebody to get into one of these and appreciate it for someone who's never owned a classic boat before, right? So, and still get a similar experience, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when we had never seen, the new Ski Champ in person. So, there were some questions as to like how the fit and finish was going to be, like, how was the wood trim going to look? And I mean, we were more than pleasantly surprised. Owning a 57 Jetstar, a couple things that stood out to me was just like how well the trailer was designed, how easy the boat went in and out of a modern trailer, the little steps around the fenders, the breakaway tongue.
Yeah. Moon hubcaps.
The moon hubcaps is, it's just great. But yeah, just like, not only do you guys like do an excellent job, recreating the essence of a vintage boat, but you made a bunch of improvements on it. It seems to me, and we had a blast taking it out, and the thing handled great. And
yeah.
It's
the fit and finish is just really, really good. I mean, we saw it roll around the building, and both of us were just like, wow, this is cool.
We're really glad you like it, and what I like in the interior, I think people's minds would have been blown with the marine mat in the inside with the sea deck, which is the EVA.
Exactly, yeah.
Some nice amenities. It's nice improvements.
Another nice modern improvement on, compared to the vintage. So
yeah.
So what was your thought or reaction when you kind of caught wind of this thing, or how did that unfold when you caught wind of that this is being worked on, or that this was underway, or?
So probably the same reaction that my grandfather and great-grandfather had when the designers came in that said we want to put wings on the side of a boat in 1957. So when I had heard rumblings that this was happening, and when I saw the boat in the final stage, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then, but when we saw our dealers' reaction, that was really cool. Our dealers just loved it, and so we've had it at multiple shows, and the response has been fantastic. And we love enthusiasts like you guys to picking it up and having appreciation for the classic boats, and we love it. I mean, it's our heritage, and there's very few families that have been in the boat business consistently since 1903 like us.
Yeah, and on the research for the video, that's really what I found, was that it's all changed hands, so there's no one that's still owned by the same people anymore. So of course they don't have the appreciation for their old product because they weren't involved with it from the beginning, right? So yeah.
Well, we've been dedicated to the industry, and we love it. We love boating, and we grew up boating. We actually, Nate, fifth generation here. Part of our weekly routine was to go water skiing after church, and the fight between Nate, his sister, and his brother to see who got to go first lasted from the minute we left church to the 15-minute ride to the dock, and it was whoever could run and sprint to the boat first with the skis got to go first, and that was a big deal. So, so it's in our blood. We love it.
All right.
One thing I never asked was, it'd be a cool video, or I never asked was if the ski champ to actually pull skis up on it, which anybody who skied from back in the day would tell you it would, because that's what they're used to skiing behind, right? They're not used to skiing behind the nautiques and the larger boats, so yeah.
Well, Josh said he's working on a wakeboard tower for it with speakers and lights, so that might be an option for next year.
Great.
So stay tuned.
Please, for everyone's sake, leave the speakers off of it.
So one thing, Nate, that was refreshing to me when I was paying attention or observing out at the boat ramp was seeing your enthusiasm talking with Andrew, and I could very much tell that you have an enthusiasm for the classic stuff and are really interested in it. And that was refreshing for me. I mean, I'm used to seeing guys that are older. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see your dad into something like that, but to see someone of the younger generation be interested in that was really refreshing, because we both feel, I think, like vintage boats are they're at a point where they're either going to be cherished and a younger generation's going to appreciate them, or they're just kind of going to die off. So it was refreshing to see someone who's in the family of a boat company ownership cherish and appreciate this type of haul, right? So I don't know, maybe you can talk a little bit about your interest or...
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because, you know, nowadays you see a lot of like new modern revolution of how boating's gone from like, you know, aluminum to fiberglass to massive pontoons to wake surf boats. But it's hard because you don't see that vintage market as much anymore. And I think for me personally too, it's super cool to be able to see something that my great-great-grandfather was a part of and that my great-grandfather was a part of, and to look back and kind of see this as a piece of history that other people can enjoy. And not just other people, but that like everyone can join in on the fun. And at the ramp too, like how we've been talking about, like everyone loves this. As we're talking about the boat, we have two people come up and say, hey, this is such a cool boat. And to be a part of something like that is so special. And to keep these old vintage designs alive, I think there's such an importance to that. And it speaks to the history of boating itself, but also of our family heritage and our ancestors. So for me, it's such a surreal and such a cool experience to be a part of, and to watch this kind of take off has been super fortunate. And then, you know, above all else, like how we walked through the factory earlier, going through the plant and just seeing everyone who's a part of that and seeing their pride and their enthusiasm towards making these as well, I think is just even cooler beyond that, to really watch it be happening and everything. I think for me it is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, it's funny, one thing that I've kind of thought about is that, you know, these things are just fun, and that this is vintage boats in general, but even being out on these, they're just fun to drive, and it's fun to just go boating in them. And I realized this one day that not many people just enjoy going boating anymore. Just putting the thing in the water, going and cruising around, maybe swimming for a little bit, but just boating, just driving the thing, doing circles, boating and being out in the water. And it's like the comments be like, well, it's not good for fishing, or you can't ski with it, or you can't do this with it. It's like, well, why can't people just enjoy boating anymore? You know, why do you need to necessarily have to water ski or fish, or, you know, like, why does the boat just have to be a means to do some other activity on the water? You know, this, to me, could very well bring back just the joy of boating, of just going out and being on the water and just cruising around and having a good time, right? So,
Totally agree. Nothing more relaxing than just a cruise in a boat.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there is something special about the 57 that, I mean, it was really funny because we're out there getting shots and everything, and just watching how excited and happy you guys were just made me super excited to see something that we built. And I mean, you guys were grinning ear to ear. And for me, that was so cool to see, like, other people sharing that joy. And you guys aren't the only ones. And like you said, like, it's one of those boats and one of those things that you don't need to be doing something. It's just the simple joy of being physically in that boat and just cruising around, or even just sitting there, like, with it is just, there really is something to be said about the craftsmanship and the work that goes into that helps, you know, create that emotion and that feeling when you're out there.
Yeah. Well said. I mean, I could go.
the
We
things I
could
thought
go
of.
on and on all day long
Yeah.
about the pro. You know, just the benefits of, you know, what we like about vintage boats compared to what we feel like the boating industry has kind of become. Just kind of this bloated. You know, most of the boats you see out there are just bloated. You know, it's getting hard to get on the water and ride stuff like this because of the size of other boats.
Yeah, that's,
You know,
that's a good point.
so I don't know. We hopefully you guys have some more cool vintage stuff in the works.
Well, you never
And
know.
and yeah.
I have to jump because I have to go
Yeah.
build more boats.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
so
man.
much.
It's
been a pleasure talking
Yeah,
to you.
we've
We've
had
had a blast. So
Yeah, thank you guys for coming out and
Yeah,
everything.
thanks for having
It's
us.
been awesome,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, showing you guys around and everything, spending
oh
the
man,
day.
we've
and
had a blast. Like you said, we've been ear to ear most of the day.
yeah,
That's great.
awesome to see.
Yeah.
All right,
So
guys.
cool.
All right, now that we've interviewed these guys and heard the whys behind the Starcraft Ski Champ, let's venture into the plant where the real work gets done and see the how in the heck do they pull this off? Well, navigate to that subscribe button, mates, because that's for next time. Did you honestly think we'd be able to fit all that in on this one? No way. If some of the spoiler footage we showed didn't properly tip it off, we'll come out and say it. There's going to be some great content on this visit coming up, so stay in our wake. More to come. Boy, we really stooped to ChatGPT level there, didn't we?